long time. The name of the song is I Don't Know.
And I'm so
I'm so glad to see.
I know it's been a long time, but we're adjusting to our new life. You know, my husband he got brain damage. My husband had seizures and he has some brain damage. Can't drive, can't do, and he's most often what I call a shut in. But we're getting it, you know.
Yes, she does her music.
Good morning. Fine, how are you?
So they hung out a lot. So I know how weird. She's extremely talented. Hilarious. Yes. All the time. Yeah, that's right. Larry's there. Stand up, you can.
The chart? This chart?
Morning. Long time no see.
Really?
Hang it live.
And again.
Do it again.
That's really fun. Please tell me if you can't hear me. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, located on occupied ancestral land of the Muscogee Nation and housed in a building constructed by free, formerly enslaved African Americans. My name is Carol Peru, and I'm your service associate today. Welcome to this morning, this day, and this opportunity to be together in community, which is a time of joy, comfort, and sometimes challenges. This Unitarian Universalist congregation is a place where we come to learn more about being human. We're not here because we figured out life's questions or because we think we've got it right. We come here to learn more about being in relationship together, how to listen, how to forgive, how to be vulnerable, and how to create trust and compassion in one another. On behalf of the members of the fellowship, I extend a special welcome to all visitors who are joining us for the first time, and to those of you who still feel like visitors. If you have not already done so, please fill out our visitor book at the front near the greeters, or digitally by visiting aauf.org/visitor. You may also contact our minister, Reverend Chris Flower, at minister@auuf.org with any questions or concerns you may have. As we prepare for our service this morning, please remember to turn your phone and other electronic devices to silent. Let us move into the service, willing to be authentic with each other, honest within ourselves, and open to communication in all its forms. Do I get to clang, or they're just gonna? Oh, okay, thank you. I don't have to hit volume. Okay. This morning, oh, I hear it. This morning, the Social Action Committee invites you to explore with us the great predicament we humans have gotten ourselves into, having created and become dependent on a marvelously productive global techno-industrial economic system, but now facing seriously threatening ecological and social problems that are the consequences of that productivity. Thus, our opening words this morning by Nate Hagins are: we are alive at a time of wonder, peril, and possibility. Ahead are a million unknown destinations, some dark and foreboding, and some welcoming and beautiful. Nature has gifted us with a productive and beautiful home, the ability to understand how we got here, and the creativity to imagine which paths are possible. The future need not be dystopian, but cleverness alone will no longer suffice for the next leg of our journey. We will need imagination, foresight, empathy, and above all wisdom to navigate the path to the future that is arriving. light our chalice this morning with these words by the Oberlin UU Fellowship in Oberlin, Ohio. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. As is our tradition, we also light a candle in solidarity with those families separated at our southern border. We also light our peace candle this week for the insurgency in the Maghreb, the ongoing Islamist insurgency in the Maghreb region of North Africa that followed on from the end of the Algerian Civil War in 2002. Over 35,000 people have been killed in fighting since 2002. 2,423 people have been already killed in 2023. One of the ways that we proclaim the warmth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. If you are joining us virtually, we invite you to type your joy, concern, or milestone in the YouTube chat box during the music for meditation. During the music, we invite anyone who wishes to, one at a time, to please step forward to silently drop a pebble into our communal bowl. Spoken joys and concerns will be invited following the music. I invite you, if you have a joy, concern, or milestone, to come forward one at a time and briefly share it into the microphone. To help maintain social distancing, please don't line up, but come forward after the last person has left the microphone.
Laura? It was a joy to have folks here yesterday to socialize and enjoy the space and the art. And I had a fabulous time sharing stories with different folks about the different pieces. And that was just really, it was really fun. And then also I got many compliments on the room setup. So if you want the room set up and it's in a fun position, come see me.
Between working a lot and Easter, I haven't been able to be here much, and I was wondering if there's been any UU response to the book banners attacking the high school and the library which, so it's something, as someone who, I'm a big reader and writer, and this is a cause dear to my heart, so if we are doing anything, I would like to know. I can't go to a lot of meetings. I teach after school. I couldn't go to the reception, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And but I would make some time, I would cancel some lessons.
Y'all can speak loud, this battery's dying.
Carol,
Speak loud.
everyone.
It's not working, just the battery's dying.
Carol and everybody, Chris in his absence. I forget. Oh, yes. Where I live, we've started a community garden. Some of us have already planted. I planted wildflower. I just dug a little itty hole and put some seed in it, and it started growing. And I'm thinking of some other ideas of what I could put on that ground so it could grow. So it'll help, get that community together where I live. Diplomat Apartments. I have a couple of concerns. One is in reference to some new directions that I'm in. As of last Sunday, I've made certain moves in which the higher power is sort of leading me in those directions. And also, y'all know Dr. Kelly Clementi Thompson. She's one of the sit-in people. In fact, she was one of the organizers, and she's come here on occasions. She got fired from her job at Auburn University this past week over a matter in which she was justified and they wouldn't respond and they fired her. So I don't know if she even wanted me to mention this, but keep her in mind in your thoughts, please, this week, because this brings some changes, and she's a firebrand. So if you could show some support and some solidarity with her, that would be nice. Thank you.
Thank you to all who have shared joys, concerns, and milestones this morning. Our moment for all ages today is led by our coordinator of religious exploration, Angela Farmer.
Who's not here?
She's not here.
So,
Okay, not today.
we're here to be vulnerable, I heard earlier. Well, vulnerable we'll be. Things are going to be changing throughout this whole time, and maybe I'll be able to see this. Come on, everybody. It's a really, really good story. It's perfect for the day. Hello.
It's not on yet.
Whoa, come on, there are more people, surely. Okay, but here are two of the dearest ones I've known for a long time. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you, Jan. Yay! Okay, let's hear a story about a snail and the biggest house in the world. Dear Lord, let it move. Okay, you ready? Some snails lived on a juicy cabbage. They moved gently around, carrying their homes on their back, went from leaf to leaf in search of a tender spot to nibble on. One day, a little snail said to his father, "When I grow up, I want to have the biggest house in the world." "That's silly," said the father, who happened to be the wisest snail on the cabbage. "Some things are better small." And he told this story. Once upon a time, a little snail, just like you, said to his father, "When I grow up, I want to have the biggest house in the world." "Some things are better small," said that father. "Keep your house light and carry it with you." But the little snail would not listen, and hidden in the shade of a large cabbage leaf, he twisted and twitched, and I can't read it, until he discovered how to make his house grow. It grew and grew, and the snails on the cabbage said, "You surely have the biggest house in the world." Then, by moving his tail swiftly from left to right, he learned to grow large, pointed bulges. And by squeezing and pushing and by wishing very hard, he was able to add bright colors and beautiful designs. And now he knew his was the most beautiful house in the world, and he was proud and happy. A swarm of butterflies flew overhead. "Look," one of them said, "a cathedral." They never guessed what they were looking at was the house of a snail. And a family of frogs on their way to a distant pond stopped in awe. "Never," they later told some cousins, "never have you seen such an amazing sight. An ordinary little snail with a house like a birthday cake." One day, after they had eaten all the leaves and only a few knobbly stems were left, the snails moved to another cabbage. But the little snail, alas, could not move. His house was much too heavy. He was left behind, and with nothing to eat, he slowly faded away. Nothing remained but the house. And that too, little by little, crumbled, with nothing remaining at all. That was the end of the story. Now the little snail, listening to the wise father, was almost in tears. But then he remembered his own house. "I shall keep it small," he thought. "And when I grow up, I shall go wherever I please." And so one day, light and joyous, he went on to see the world, and some leaves fluttered lightly in the breeze, and others hung heavily to the ground. Where the dark earth had split, crystals glittered in the early sun. There were polka-dotted mushrooms and towery stems from which little flowers seemed to wave. And there was a pine cone lying in the leafy shade of ferns and pebbles and a nest of sand, smooth and round, like eggs of the turtle dove. Lichen clung to the rocks and bark to the trees. The tender buds were sweet and cold with morning dew. The little snail was very happy. The seasons came and went, but the snail never forgot the story his father had told him. And when someone asked, "How come you have such a small house?" he would tell the story of the biggest house in the world. That's
Be open to new learning. May your words bring truth into the world. May your hearts know love and your hands do justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
The purpose of Unitarian Universalist communities is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We are ready for our offering, and Judy is going to sing for us. So please give generously this morning as you are willing and able, as we bring the compassionate spirit of Unitarian Universalism into the world. To make a donation online via PayPal, please visit auuf.org/donate. Please indicate in the notes whether your donation is for your pledge or your offering. If you are writing a check, please make your check payable to AUUF with a note on the memo line about whether it is for the offering or your pledge, and drop it in the offering bowl or mail it to P.O. Box 669, Auburn, Alabama 36831. The offering will now be gratefully received.
And as I said, we are here together, vulnerable, forgiving, loving. I will say the song is entitled, I Don't Know. And it's so true because this song keeps evolving every day. And I'm not quite sure where it's going to go or how it's going to go. So I need all of your loving support as we think about this together. The one thing I do know is that the conclusion of this 2023 version came as a result of hearing the call of the trees, an offering from them to us. Now, can we give an offering to all? I don't know. I don't know which way we'll go. I don't know which way it'll be. I just know which way we go. Depends on you, depends on me. The eternal mystery. Oh, well, the old way of living said, bigger is best. More guns, more power. It won the West. We conquered the Indians, conquered many lands, but have we been conquered with our conquering, consuming hands? I don't know which way we'll go. I don't know which way it'll be. I just know which way we go. Depends on you, depends on me. The eternal mystery. Well, now we heard long ago, progress, that's a great thing. Prosperity to all, development will bring. But look all around us, what do we see? Resources depleting, species extincting, carbon footprint killing while time keeps on a fleeing. It's clearly set before us, we must choose to cherish fellow beings. There's no time to lose, pursuing false riches, materialistic schemes, neglecting to heed a long-ago dream of the Great Mother, Gaia's anguished scream. Change your ways, change your ways. Welcome, Great Spirit, which is pulsing creativity, as we wake to see all our kin in Earth's community. Then strive to protect, not harm, each and all our fellow earthlings, the great and the small, as we humbly hear the trees' urgent call. We are all in this together. Laura's stage, life is but a stage, and there's an angel spreading happiness, she says, but I know it's all about spreading stardust. We are one.
moment for contemplation. Please join in the spirit of contemplation in whatever way feels right with these words spoken by President John F. Kennedy during his Strategy of Peace speech at the American University on June 10th, 1963.
So let us not be blind to our differences, but let us also direct attention to our common interests and the means by which those differences can be resolved. And if we cannot end now our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity. For in the final analysis, our most basic common link is we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's future, and we are all mortal.
Blessed be. Welcome, Janelle.
Conrad has a campus moment for us all.
Okay. Good. I can even hear myself. So, I want to take you back to 1954. Seems like a long way ago, but in 1954 I got married, and that was the beginning of a very interesting time. You can't hear me, but I can hear myself. Okay. So in 1954, I got married. It was a rather difficult time. I was at the University of Illinois, and they still had ROTC, which was a program, a war program, basically. And I got drawn into that, into the time of well, they gave a stipend. I think it was something like $23 a month or something like that. That, along with serving tables and washing dishes, I was able to finish up my program in art. And I met Janice at that time. Janice was my wife. And we decided we would get married, but we didn't realize what the social pressures would be. I was Jewish. I was raised Jewish. I did all of the things a good Jew would do. And she was Presbyterian. And she had gone to many programs that the Presbyterians propose for a young person growing up. But we thought hard about, we were unusual, we thought hard about what our offspring might be. And so we looked around and we found a minister in nearby where was it? Nearby place, and he performed the service for us. Our first meeting with him was, he was a Universalist minister, was to find out what we wanted and to instruct us to write our own script for the marriage. 1954, that was rather a revolutionary thing. And so we did. We got married. The Army was almost at the end of the war, but the Army was very insistent on payback, and fortunately, we were given some time, and they delayed my call for about a year. That was just enough to get me through that war. And in the interim, I went to the University of Chicago and studied philosophy with a person whose short referent was God. And Richard Peter McKeon wrote a lot on Aristotle and so forth. So that gave me a little time to prepare before I went off to the Army. Spent a lot of time going to school and learning how to analyze traffic that might come in over the airwaves. So my classmate who followed me also was an artist, and so we went to where they trained traffic analysis at Fort Devens in Massachusetts. My wife went up with me. I met her there again. She found a job with bad girls who went to school. And these bad girls needed training, and so she tried to train them. She kept her scissors locked up. And we moved off to Massachusetts. I'm telling you all this because this is what a Unitarian does. I consider myself a Unitarian. And so we were stationed in Washington, D.C., and I remember being issued a gun and given a convoy truck and told to go to Arlington Hall. I got lost. Police stopped me and they said, "Where are you going?" And I told them. They said, "Okay, we'll get you there." They did. I checked in my gun and emptied my load of classified material to an incinerator. And so that was the first leg of my journey. Fortunately, the government was very concerned about all these people that were going to go back into civilian life. And they gave us the GI Bill, which allowed me to go back and finish my graduate work, which I did at the University of Iowa with a noted printmaker. And got my degree, got my training in printmaking, went looking for a job. There were none. After about, I'd say, 400 letters, and after a long period of rejection, I finally got a job in the South. And it was a very small art department run by two old matronly Southern women. And they allowed me to teach. At the end of the first year, I was told I was fired. This came around Christmas time. And that's when I became a member of the AAUP and contested this because I felt that I really wanted to teach, but I didn't want my career to be ended with two old matronly Southern women in the South. So we had hearings. I wrote a long, big dossier. Basically, the problem was that the way I taught was unacceptable. And they would look in and they would see me not at my desk at the front of the class, and they would wonder what was going on here, I guess. And so my style of teaching was to present an art problem and then go around to each desk and see how they handled it. And I thought it was a pretty good style. And they didn't. So we went before the president of that small college in Ruston, Louisiana, and I presented my case. I was allowed to bring one person with me. I found a minister who would go with me. And so after a while, the president invited me in and he told me, well, you know you have to go. You can't stay here. But I'll give you a glowing letter of recommendation. I said, fine. Good deal. I then, fortunately, one of these 400 letters that I had sent out arrived at Auburn University. And they said, you all come. And I did. Taught art here for about 30 years. Graduated some good students and an awful lot of bad ones. And so I stand here today as a Unitarian with a long history. And I'm sure that every Unitarian in this room could stand and tell their story. Thank you.
Check. You hear me? Okay. All right. Am I on camera? Doesn't matter? Okay. Okay. My name is Jim Allen, and long time here, 20 years. Especially involved, concerned about social action and environmental stuff. And the Social Action Committee has invited me to introduce our program today. I didn't know that we were going to have the canvas moment, so we're going to run out of time, I'm afraid. But I want to, well, if you look in the order of service, right now I'm supposed to be leading you in this prayer, but I want to tell you why that came up for me, which goes back to the Jack Kennedy statement, his amazing speech, June 10th, 1963. He's calling for an end to the Cold War with its threat of ultimate nuclear violence. And the terms in which he puts that is accepting diversity. And he's declaring that the common humanity of us and those awful Russians, matters a lot more than our differences. And thinking about that, I realized, hey, this Catholic president is sounding more like a UU. That's the first principle of UUism. We respect the worth and dignity of every person. How about that? And then I realized, okay, we're talking about common humanity. That easily translates into human family. And this prayer that's on the back of the order of service, I actually wrote 20-something years ago to be part of the marriage ceremony for my oldest son. And the idea was, let's try to not just be in-laws, but real family. But later I realized, hey, why not the human family? And then the further explanation of it, we're going to show you a 9-minute animated video that's our title for the service today is Coping with Our Great Predicament. You know what that is. Our awful beast of an economic system is killing us and we're addicted to it, can't stop. But the title of the video is The Great Simplification. In other words, it forecasts an inevitable resolution of this predicament in a great simplification. That is, a society much less global, much more local, way less fossil fuel. So that's a pretty drastic transition, difficult to manage, yeah. And especially in our currently so polarized, divided, often even violently, opposed factions, etc. How do we manage that? And so that about the Kennedy quotation, wow, this is how you manage it, We're all in this together, getting that idea across. And by the way, it's controversial, of course, but there is evidence that Jack Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev were engaged in back-channel conversation about how to end the Cold War. They both were afraid that their militaries, wouldn't like it. And of course, as you know, Kennedy was killed just 5 months later. But anyway, back to that, important, I think. I want to insist on that. Our first principle, worth and dignity of every person. I'm inviting you to join in a ceremony, praying. Weird for me to be doing, but the times they are still a-changing. Anyway, it's a prayer that affirms the first principle, I think, in terms of family life. And I want to, I should say, if any of you hardcore UUs, may be bristling a bit about prayer, yeah, but this prayer, please, is not a plea for some superhero deity to fix things for us. This prayer is a call to us to be our better selves. We're not going to have time to do the extended, I said in the order of service, free range, open mic discussion. But we have a second hour coming up, and I really invite all of you. I think this news about the predicament and the simplification inevitably happening, maybe, is worth considering, but also worth questioning. So I hope we can, have good conversation in our second hour. But now, if you will, you're the left side and you're the right side, okay? So let us pray. May our family be blessed with openness and sharing in all our joys and sorrows. May we always allow each other the freedom to grow in our own ways, celebrating the gifts that each has to give. In celebrating our differences, may we be blessed with never losing touch with our bond of oneness, the secure knowledge we are all more alike than we are different. May we be blessed with the willingness to help each other through the good times and the bad times, and through all the stages of growth and loss that come to all families altogether. Blessed with caring and trust beyond all limits, so that we never fear to speak or to hear the truth, and never fear to love, no matter what, no matter where. Take it seriously. Thank you. Now let's see the show.
We are alive at a time of wonder, peril, and possibility. Ahead are a million unknown destinations, some dark and foreboding, and some welcoming and beautiful. Many of us sense that something is different, something is coming, but we lack a shared understanding of the path that brought us here and of the terrain ahead. Which future we expect depends upon which lens we use to see the road. Modern society is polarized, stressed, and overwhelmed with information, good and bad. As a result, common points of view, our lenses, focus on the road just in front of us. For the view to the future, we defer to culturally accepted guides who are confident they know the way forward. Through the lens of an economist, for example, we see a glorious road leading to growth that never stops. Any scarcity of energy or material inputs will be solved by price signals, creating incentives which increase our productivity and growth. The economic lens shows us that human ingenuity and the market will solve everything. A financial lens translates stock markets at all-time highs as a sign of society's health, portending a rich and virtuous future. With enough financial capital, we'll be able to build roads to anywhere. A technology lens promises a shiny road of comfort, novelty, and prosperity, enabled by future inventions. Innovation, artificial intelligence, and a vibrant metaverse will sidestep any energy or resource constraints. We envision future humans breaking free from the confines of Earth and enjoying high-tech lifestyles, where the biggest problem is runaway robots. These lenses are all optimistic, but misguided. All these lenses are energy blind. The real paths ahead can only be seen by integrating energy awareness with biology, sociology, physics, and everything science has discovered. We need a systems lens to read the map. A systems lens reveals the holistic story that explains humanity's path. In pursuit of the same emotional experiences of our ancient ancestors, we transform materials and energy into technologies that make our lives more comfortable and fun. We keep score of our progress using money, which has become a psychological stand-in for all the things our ancestors valued. The massive scale of humanity's consumption is evidenced by the excess CO2 being absorbed by Earth's oceans and atmosphere. The emergent result is a metabolic superorganism with oil as its hemoglobin, transporting goods through the arteries and veins of a global supply network. Like a shark needing to swim to get oxygen flowing through its gills, our current economic system has an imperative to grow in order to satisfy prior financial commitments. We can't stop, nor can we slow down, or the system will crash. A systems lens reveals that the road ahead is closed to our current cultural expectations, yet we continue to bear down on the accelerator. Wearing systems lenses removes the blind spots created by any single issue lens. Global economic growth will never meaningfully decouple from energy consumption. It cannot, because the world's GDP, by definition, has always been a proxy for how much energy we burn. If we were to grow the global economy at 3% a year, as most governments and institutions expect, we would use as much energy and materials in the next 30 years as we have in the past 10,000. Stock markets are poor guideposts for prosperity when inflated by government and central bank support. All the cash, stocks, bonds, and pension funds in the world will need energy and materials to be cashed out and turned into real wealth. Creativity and innovation will be central to human futures, but modern technology requires huge amounts of energy to build and to operate. As long as GDP is our goal, efficiency gains from new technology will serve the superorganism. Transitioning from fossil hydrocarbon to rebuildable energy won't change this dynamic. Ultimately, in addition to using different energy, we'll need to use energy differently. Seeing our future through a systems lens changes everything. We have spent the last century harnessing enormous amounts of fossil energy to build a world of complexity like nothing seen before. In the coming century, humanity will experience a great simplification. There will always be energy on Earth as long as the sun burns, but the amount of surplus energy available to human societies will soon be diminishing. As the extraction of geologically stored energy becomes more difficult, everything we're used to in society will become more costly or less available. We are not planning for this because it's never happened before. The onset of the Great Simplification will be financial and economic turbulence followed by contraction. When we can no longer grow fast enough to maintain all the increased financial claims, economies will recede to a scale that can again be supported by physical flows without credit. Complex global supply chains, the related high consumption lifestyles, and many of the conveniences and freedoms we take for granted in this era of abundant energy surplus will diminish. The ensuing simplification will be among the most significant events ever experienced by our species. Those who look through a systems lens can serve as early visionaries of a simpler life, with new ways of relating to technology, to consumption, to each other, and to Earth's ecosystems. There are many pathways wending through a great simplification. Some are wise, humane, and even preferable to what we have now. Some are so dark as to be nearly unthinkable. Yet it is precisely thinking about these pathways and actively choosing among them which offers the only realistic hope for a long and meaningful human future. Nature has gifted us with a productive and beautiful home, the ability to understand how we got here, and the creativity to imagine which paths are possible. The future need not be dystopian, but cleverness alone will no longer suffice for the next leg of our journey. We will need imagination, foresight, empathy, and above all, wisdom to navigate the path to the future that is arriving. The Great Simplification.
I hope everyone will want to stay and be able to discuss this topic further in our second hour. Please join me in extinguishing our chalice. You'll find the words in your order of service.
But not the light of truth, the warmth of unity, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thanks.
Karen? I think we can do the closing song. Yeah. Which
Okay.
actually, supposed to sound like a child.
I didn't know if we were keep that in there. That would be lovely.
Number 16. At the risk of complicating the simple, we would like to suggest we sing it twice. It's such a pretty... 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come down right.
I'm so glad we got to still do that. One of my very favorite songs. Please be our guest today after the service for our coffee hour here in the sanctuary. This is an opportunity to chat with people about the service or just how the week went. If you have not signed up for our email list, please make sure to do so to receive updates about ways to connect. You can find information on signing up at our website, auf.org/subscribe. I invite anyone with spoken announcements to come forward at this time. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yes?
Sylvia.
Oh. We're currently, Chris Bastier is in charge. He's not here today, but we're starting the campus, UU Campus Ministry, 7 o'clock tonight, room 2326, which is in the Melton Student Center. We're having our third spaghetti dinner. And so if you're around campus, come out and join us. 7 o'clock. Thank you.
This is a hot week for community music. Monday night, the community band will be performing at like the First Baptist. I encourage you to come. You don't have to. There'll be no offering or prayers, and it's a very nice building. It's big enough for us and big enough for you. Thursday at Kiesel Park, which is an even bigger place. The community orchestra will be performing at 6. I should say the band is at 6:30. We'll be at 6 at Kiesel Park, and come out and enjoy it. And come early because there's a lot of other stuff going on at Kiesel on that same day.
I'm testing this. She's testing that right before the shortest person. Is this a joke? It's okay. I won't talk for too long. I feel validated. There are 5 people that were promised live cilantro plants. They're in the back. I don't think all 5 are here. So if you didn't ask for one, but there is one left over, please wait for those who asked for them first to get theirs first, and then you can have what's left over. And there's much more in our house. There's a tray with cut up cilantro if you don't feel like planting stuff and making a long-term commitment right away. You can take them home, enjoy them, wash them first if you so wish. Have them.
That's all right. I used to be something short once.
Yes.
We all know that the folks up in Camp Hill are going through hell, and we thought the very least we could do as a fellowship is write some thoughts and send it to them on a card. So this oversized card leaves plenty of space for you to send a message, and I'll put it over here so that you can spill coffee on it, and thus authenticate that it really came from us.
Hey y'all, I'm Billy, VP of Finance. As many of you know, we've been going through our canvas and pledge drive for 8 weeks, something like that. We're looking to wrap up, and we should wrap up soon. If you have a pledge that you'd like to get in, I'm going to have a couple laptops available in the back where you can just click a form online. If you need any help, let me know. Thanks so much.
Okay, back up here with yoga, except this Tuesday, Katie Martin again is coming back. Yay. And I had the privilege of going out to Shoe Fly Farm last night to hear her. She's a remarkable musician, local. So please do join us. 5:30 is yoga. We'd love to see you for that. 6:30 is a sound bath with Katie. And she is doing this through donations. So, I mean, that's in itself bringing all of the bowls. So I hope to see you all this Tuesday. Sound bath, 6:30. Thank you.
That is all the announcements. As you're able and willing, please join us in our sign benediction. coffee hour for you? Your friends. Thank you.